Welcome to Overcome Yourself, the podcast, where we rewrite stories, shift mindsets, and make dreams come true. I'm your host, Nicole Tuxbury. Let's get into today's episode. Hello there, and welcome back to the next episode of Overcome Yourself, the podcast. As you know, my name is Nicole, and I'm so excited to be here today with Emily. And Emily has a really cool story of pivoting. I'm not going to butcher it. I'm going to go ahead and let Emily take it away. Please, Emily, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about who you are, your journey, and now who you help now.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much. Firstly, I just want to say thank you for having me. I'm so excited to chat with you and to dive deep into how I personally overcame myself in so many ways and still have to all the time, honestly. So, my name is Emily. I am a certified productivity life coach and founder of the Productivity Flow, and I empower female solopreneurs and hybrid workers to overcome different mindset hurdles as well as systemize their work from home life so that way they can actually achieve true, genuine work life balance. And I do that through my one on one coaching, my free community. I have a bunch of free resources on my website and my blogs. And I also do a lot of public speaking at events, conferences, workshops, and that whole stuff. I will say, though, this is not what I ever thought I would be doing when I, like pre-pandemic Emily, did not expect post-pandemic Emily to be here. It was definitely, like you said, quite a pivot, quite a journey. And it really did have a lot to do with the pandemic. So in 2020, I was actually a wedding planner and I had two different wedding planning jobs. I was loving it. And then the pandemic hit, lockdown began, and weddings stopped. And the entire industry was really just put on pause. And, for a couple months, I sulked. I got mad at the world. I was angry and frustrated. And I just felt really stuck. And there was like a moment. And honestly, I have been in therapy since I was a little kid. I kept up with therapy throughout this whole journey. And I think that really gave me the emotional intelligence and self empowerment tools that I needed to make this pivot. Right. And so it was through like sessions with my therapist that I kind of realized I am not the type of person to just wait for life to happen to me. Like, I want to take my power back and start moving forward again, start working again, have an actual career that I don't have to wait on anymore. Right. And so I decided to get some online certifications. And I started doing social media management actually for a handful of entrepreneurs that I knew at the time. And within a couple of months, I had a full blown clientele. I had weekly deliverables, and I basically built up a social media practice, a freelancing practice, which was awesome. And then through working with all of these entrepreneurs, I realized none of us had work life balance. None of us had good habits that enabled work life balance, right? And none of us had the systems that enabled work life balance. And we all were really struggling with a lot of different mindset hurdles, whether that was imposter syndrome or procrastination or self doubt. Name the hurdle, we have all felt it, right? And I asked myself, I was like, is this my future? Like, there has to be a better way to do this. This can't be how every freelancer, solopreneur, entrepreneur feels. There needs to be some better way. And that's when I really started diving into the mindset work and understanding what mindset has to do with productivity and work-life balance, and how can we kind of holistically approach productivity. So that way it's not just about getting more done, but it's about getting the right things done that actually move our goals forward, that actually grow the business and grow our personal lives too. So I naturally started coaching my social media freelance clients on how to boost their mindset and how to boost their productivity and create these systems, which all enabled all of them to have better work-life balance. And they actually came to me and they were like, you helped me so much. Like, you need to start a coaching business. This was awesome. Please do this more. So I did. I got certified. And in 2022, I officially started coaching, and the rest is history.
That is amazing. I love a few things that you mentioned, like therapy, right? Because
Yes.
everyone's like, you gotta go to therapy, right? But there's a few things that you need to be able to do that and to be able to do that
Mm-hmm.
regularly. And that is, well, first of all, you have to like admit, hey, like I gotta do this. Like, let's do this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that's the
Um,
toughest part, right?
yes.
Like actually admitting to yourself. And there have been, so when I was originally starting therapy, I was around 10 years old, and my parents put me in therapy because they were going through a divorce and they wanted to just help me cope and thrive. And I stuck with it, and then I got into high school and I was like, I don't need therapy. I'm good. Like, da da da. Okay, well, a couple years later, I was like, oh no, I need therapy. I got to go back. Like, mom, you were right. Like, kind of thing. And I remember that battle of like, why do I need it? Like, I'm fine. I should be able to do this on my own. That was like my thought. Like, I should be able to do this, but and I think it's that should that really holds people back from asking for help, from, expanding your horizons a little bit on the personal development front. And I think that challenge right there, it takes a lot of just honesty and working through it and really asking yourself, do I want to keep beating around the bush and like kind of repeating the same mistakes and taking 2 steps forward, 5 steps back? Or do I want to try something different? Right?
Yeah, the question that I had to ask myself mid panic attack, I had a conversation
Yeah.
about this earlier, because they were happening to me because of a vitamin deficiency, right? So there was a lot of
Mm-hmm.
factors
Mm-hmm.
that I couldn't just think myself out of. But
Exactly.
when I was in one of those, and I call it my full Disney princess, and you're like on the rocks, just crying your eyes out. Everything's dark. Do I like this, right? And I had to
Right.
have a hard conversation. But then back to your point of work-life balance, right?
Mm.
Once we admit that to ourselves, we need the money to be able to like pay for the appointments, right? Because it's a regular thing, so it adds up.
Yeah.
And but also very importantly, we need to have time.
Mm.
Time that we can step away from our businesses, time that we can that we don't have to be doing anything, right? And so that's a challenge in itself, is like, well, I've
Absolutely.
got to be working. I'm just gonna go talk to this person and cry my eyes out for a little while, or
Yeah.
whatever. I should be working. So can you talk to me a little bit about that perspective?
Oh, I love that you brought this up because you really brought up like two big things. So I think one big thing that you brought up is this notion that we all are asking for more time. None of us feel like we have enough time in the day to do the things that we already have on our calendar and our to-do list in our mirror. And then you want me to add something more? You're crazy. There's no way I'm going to do that, right? So that's one leg of it. And then I think the other leg that you're really talking about is the guilt of not working, of actually taking that time that you do have and spending it on something else that's not on your to-do list or in your calendar, right? That guilt really does stem from this hustle culture mentality that we all have. So does this idea that we don't have enough time, because
Mhm.
this hustle culture, the really, especially American society, we are really stuck in it, in the sense that being busy is kind of like a badge of honor. Like, oh, I'm so busy. How have you been? I've been so busy. Like that's everybody's answer, right? Because it's a sign that we're successful somehow. Yet in reality, you could be busy and working on the wrong things and not actually move yourself forward. And you can be busy in all the distractions, right? And so you probably are not actually using the 24 hours in your day that you already have to your best ability, right? So that comes with a piece of honesty there too. And that's a big thing that my coaching clients come to me with. They always, the number one, like most common denominator between all of my coaching clients, they always say in our first call, I don't have enough time. Like, I want to do coaching. I don't know how I'm going to make time for it. Like, it's not possible. It's not doable. And then, you know how I kind of get them to realize that they do have enough time? I love doing this. I ask everybody to pull out their phone and go to their screen usage and look at how many hours a day they are actually spending scrolling on social media, checking emails, being on their phone, right? And every single time they're always like, oh my God, I'm spending that many hours. Like I just did this yesterday with a client and she was like, I'm spending 6 hours a day. 3 of those hours are on TikTok. Like I can't believe that's where I'm spending my time. So I'm like, okay, so now let's take that. What if we take one of those hours away from TikTok and put it towards a coaching session or put it towards a therapy session? Do you think that's going to enable you to hit your goal and to do your things? And then they're always like, you know what? That's realistic. I can actually do that. right? So I think it's really important to kind of break down how you're actually spending your time right now. Get realistic with yourself. 24 hours, it's a lot of time in a day, And so are you actually using it to the best of your ability, right? When you start to use it to the best of your ability, your guilt starts to fade away because you know that you are doing what's best for you, that you are putting your best foot forward each and every day, and you are, doing it to the best of your ability. That's all we can ever ask for, right? But it's when we have that guilt and that notion like, oh, I don't have enough time, it's more you're not spending the time wisely and you aren't and you feel kind of guilty about it. So you force yourself to keep working. Right. So it's kind of like a two-legged race right there, honestly.
Yes. Well, I really like how you are able to like quantify this with numbers. Like just
Yeah.
pull out your phone and take a look. It's not about, oh, well, estimating. And I think that also
Yeah.
speaks to the power of pockets of time that we have. Because I'm willing to bet that you're not sitting there for 3 hours in a row.
No, probably
It's
not.
20
Right.
minutes here, 40 minutes here, like an hour before bed or whatever it is. Um, and then imagine using those same pockets, right? Because you don't have to sit down for an entire hour. You could do something
Right.
here for 20 minutes, something here for 20 minutes, something here for 20 minutes, and you've done an hour of something, right?
Oh, I
Um,
love that you said that because I feel like so often we will look at our, like, I actually did this to myself today. Literally, right? But I was in between calls. I had 15 minutes and I was like, okay, I have a choice here. I could either try to work on something for 15 minutes, I could take a mindful 15-minute break, which is always good, or I could scroll on my phone. And for a split second there, for like 2 minutes, I started scrolling on my phone and then I caught myself and I was like, oh, this is not the best use of my time or my energy. I'm going to instead choose to just get started on something, right? And so then I set a 10-minute timer. I got started on something and I felt really confident and good going into my next meeting. But I had to stop myself and make that choice, right? That's the tough part, honestly, is like stopping yourself and being like, no, like I can use these 20 minutes. Even it might seem small, but let's turn it into an experiment. How much can I get done in 20
yes,
minutes? Let's find this out. I'm curious, right? Get a little curious and suddenly you kind of gamify your
yes.
task list and it gets more fun and easier to follow through on.
Yes, I like to race against the clock, right? Like if
Yeah.
you're like doing something, you're making coffee. I love to set my coffee and I'm like, let's see how fast I can do the dishes.
Oh, I love
Put
that. That's
everything away,
perfect.
Right? And even if the coffee's done and I just have a few dishes left, I'm like, well, let me
Right.
just knock this out because now like, oh, look how clean the counter is. Let me just wipe everything down. And
Oh,
it's like this snowball, but it's a good snowball, right?
yes.
Like you're intentional and you're leaving surprises for yourself. And to talk
Yes.
about this playfulness, I am so forgetful. And so it's like a surprise because I walk back into the kitchen, I'm like, it's clean. Oh my God,
Oh
this is
my God.
amazing. Thank you, Past Nicole.
I know. I love that feeling. And what you're describing right now is actually like your brain really working in its favor. So let me break that down. Number one, I'm kind of obsessed with learning about neuroscience and how the brain works, how we can change the brain, really just understanding it. Because if we can understand it and actually learn ourselves a bit better, we can stop fighting against ourselves and learn how to work with ourselves. That's really the foundation of my coaching. Right. And so what you were just describing is like, you kind of were describing you started something and let's say you wanted to finish it but you saw that there was just a little bit left to do and you're like no I just need and let me finish this, let me get it done. That concept right there is actually called the Zeigarnik effect, and it's the fact that our brain craves closure. So if you start a task, if getting started is always the toughest part, just get started. Set a 5-minute timer, even a 2-minute timer. Just get started. And suddenly your brain is going to see that you got started, and your brain is going to be the one that's like, hey, we can finish this. Like, come on, just wrap it up. You're all good. It's almost there. Like, da-da-da-da. And that's kind of why we actually we binge TV, because an episode ends and we're like, wait, what happened next? I really want to know. That's the Zeigarnik effect, right? So let's just apply that to our work and help ourselves gain momentum. That's what you were just describing right there. So love it.
That is fantastic. That's amazing. I didn't know how to name. Now I do. And I'm gonna
Yeah.
go research that because I also love learning about like quantum physics and
Oh, look at you.
neuroscience and like let's get down to the bottom of this. Like what, this is
Root
not woo
causes.
woo.
Exactly,
Right?
right?
We're looking at science, and so I think that's amazing. Talk to me about, because I'm neurodivergent. I have a lot of friends. We
Yeah.
have chronic
Mhm.
pain,
Mm,
and we all have 24 hours in a day can sound not very helpful to someone
totally.
who's dealing with a lot of things. So I want you to
Yeah.
talk to me about how rest and taking care of yourself can be an income producing activity and how that counts towards those 24 hours too. It's okay.
Oh, I love that you brought this up. So, a reframe that I, number one, need to remind myself all the time, but that I also really share with my clients over and over again is just a simple phrase: rest is productive, right? If we can understand that rest is productive and kind of going back to the science, why? Let's actually understand why rest is productive. Well, if you think about a car, right? And you go to the gas station, you fill up the fuel, and you use the car for, I don't know, you go on a road trip, let's say, and you just go straight for hours and hours, and suddenly your car is on empty. It can't run anymore, can it? It slows to a stop, and pretty soon it can't even go at all. That's us. That's our brain, right? We need to fuel it with sleep, with nutrients, with self empowerment. And it's all of these little things
Movement,
that
movement. We need,
movement.
yeah.
Oh, so true. Thank you so much. Movement is a huge one, right? Like we really need to give ourselves these little things to enable ourselves to be our most productive self, to actually have the energy and the brain power to do an hour of deep focus, right? If we avoid getting, let's say you know that you need 7 hours of sleep and you are consistently getting 5 to 6, and you wake up groggy and you wake up a little in a bad mood, not the happiest self, and it feels like you're dreading your day and you're kind of forcing yourself to go through the motions, and then you can't wait until it hits 5 o'clock, and then you're dreading the fact that you have to repeat it all again tomorrow. If you're like stuck in that cycle, that's when you need to kind of like ask yourself, what am I missing? Out of like, okay, obviously work is here. That's never leaving. That's here to stay. We got that covered. What else, right? Is it the sleep? Is it the nutrients? Is it the movement? Let me try focusing on just one of these things, right? I don't want to overhaul our routine. That's a recipe for unsustainable mishaps, right? We want to get sustainable here and get realistic. So choose just one thing. So if you are only sleeping 5 hours and you know you need 7, sleep should be that thing that you choose, right? And you will notice a difference within a couple of days. Honestly, that's the kind of crazy part about our body and our brain. It doesn't take that long. We just have to try and get consistent with it. And if we can actually like have that self-care mindset, what do I need in order to be my most successful version of myself? Right? That's kind of the lens that I want you to look at self-care with, not of like, oh, let me go take a 3 hour bath or let me have a 3 hour morning routine or no, 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 no. It's the simple, small, basic things that is your fuel that gets you moving, right? So I always like to kind of ask my coaching clients to choose just one thing that you know you're not giving to yourself, that you know would make a major difference. Test it out for 2 weeks. Let's see how it goes. And normally, after that 2 week period, they're glued to it. They can't believe that they lived a life without it because it really does make that much of a difference.
Yes. And you know what? The little things, right? What we're talking about here, and I'm sure that you would agree with me, right? I talk about this in my book when I talk about my success habits.
Yeah.
And it starts with things like drinking water or drinking more water, walking or moving around however you can. Yes, exactly. Um, Gratitude, practicing gratitude, writing down 3 things, thinking of 3 things that you're grateful for.
So
They
key.
are the big dominoes, right? Because when we knock out that big domino, everything else kind of handles itself. If
Yeah.
you are rested, you got the amount of sleep you needed, you got those 2 extra hours. Well, what if you were more productive in the 6 hours that you're working? And now you're getting more stuff done. You're actually excited about it. you have more time now because you're just make doing it faster because you're energized, you got food, you got rest. Um, that changes your whole life.
It really does. No, it really does. I always say like balance is a choice and it's many choices that you make all day long, right?
Yeah.
It's never just one thing. It's little things that compound and stack up, right? Progress does not happen overnight. It happens through small, consistent actions. And
Yes.
when you can like commit to just one that feels doable, that you know you're going to get a benefit out of, you're gonna want to follow through. Like something kind of changes within you. You like get a lot more motivation because you're like, oh my gosh, wait, that's what I've always wanted. And you're telling me I can actually get there. Like that's realistic for me. It totally is, as long as you break it down. And my motto, it's move just 1% forward each day, right?
Mhm.
So if you can push yourself 1 extra percent each and every day, you're going to hit 100% before you even know it, right? Way faster than you think. And that's like what my coaching clients always tell me is like, I did not expect to hit my goal this quick or to hit my complete my vision this quick, because I always thought like I was just so stuck and just in this cycle that I couldn't step out of. You got to step out and then you got to ask yourself, okay, what's my 1%? My
Yes.
1% today is this. I'm just going to commit to that today. Right.
Yes, and those tiny, the little things are the big things, right? Because it's those things
Exactly.
that we do day in and day out. You could drink a soda. Like I used to drink a lot of soda. And so I switched over to water, right? I'd be like, "No,
Mhm.
I want to rest. I just want to like sit on the couch and watch TV." Well, when I go for a walk, guess what? I sleep better because now, like
Yeah.
I used up some energy, right? And so yeah, it's leaning into those things and setting good boundaries.
Oh,
Like
yes.
it's working on
Huge.
all of those little things. And you know what, when you were talking about sleep, right, like truck drivers are not allowed to drive after a certain number of hours because at some point you start acting drunk if you
Literally.
haven't slept. So if you haven't slept and you're trying to run your business and you're literally on hour 36, you're literally making drunk decisions right now. This is not going to be good
I
for
love
anyone.
that. No, that's so true. I mean, also like think about little kids, right? Like
Mhm.
when little kids don't get enough sleep, ugh, don't be around them. They're scary, right? Like, and I know when I don't get enough sleep, I get triggered way more easily. I get annoyed way more easily. Like all these negative emotions that I swear I'm normally pretty on top of. If I don't have enough sleep, all of my control kind of goes out the window. And it's not my fault. It's because I didn't, excuse me, it's because I didn't provide enough fuel for my brain. That
Yes.
ultimately is like the big reason. And that fuel is going to be different for everybody, because if you are consistently getting 8 hours of sleep, but you're still feeling really agitated or really exhausted or just full of dread, then maybe it's time to look at the movement. Are you actually getting up and exerting that negative energy and channeling it into somewhere beyond your work and your relationships, right? Or
Yes.
maybe it's your food and your nutrients. Are you actually, eating fruits and veggies, like what are these little small things, these tiny changes that you can make in your personal life that will automatically, without you even trying, improve your professional life, improve your professional development, improve your work performance, improve your productivity. That's this misconception that the hustle culture has. It's that all of the personal development stuff has nothing to do with professional development, but that's just so not true. It's not science, right? I always say like you cannot have professional development without having personal development. And every successful entrepreneur, every successful person will tell you the same, because they had to really work on themselves, overcome themselves in some sort of way in order to actually reach that level of success.
And you know what is the saying? A rising tide lifts all ships. Like if you're
Yeah.
developing, personally, of course that's going to be reflected professionally because you
Yep.
can't just leave it at the door, right?
No.
It does. It's overflow and it affects everything that you do. And so
Right.
that's what I was looking for when I was writing my book. I was like, what
Mm,
what is the common denominator here? Like
yeah.
whether you are the CEO of a company or the salesperson or the janitor or you're in a hospital or you're a new mom, like what is a universal principle? We all need to practice gratitude. We all
Yeah.
need water. We all need to move. And that's where I came up, and I was like, let me start from the base and then we can go up
Yeah.
from there, right? Yeah, 1% habits. You don't
Yep.
need to change everything. Everything you said, just dead on. Um,
No.
Talk to me about where we can stay in touch with you. And I think you mentioned you had a
Yeah.
gift for the audience.
Oh my gosh, yes. Okay, so firstly, where you can find me on Instagram and on TikTok at the productivity flow. You can also find my website where I have tons of free resources and blogs and a lot more podcast episodes like this one, as well as my coaching program and my free community. You can find all of that at theproductivityflow.com. And given our conversation today, how we really like talked about, I love what you were just saying about boundaries. I actually think boundaries is like one of the ways that enables you to make all of these changes, right? And we also talked a lot about like having that self-care mindset. So I actually have a guide that goes deep into self-care. How do you set boundaries for yourself so that way you can do the self-care that you know will make you more productive, will make you have that work-life balance and just be your most successful version of yourself. So I will definitely send you the link. That way the link can go into the show description.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And you know what? Like what you just said made me think of doing things like self-care, like going to get a haircut. And then every time you wash your hair, you blow dry it. Well, I'm ready to go, right? I'm camera ready. And so I don't have to invest tons of hours like, I gotta straighten this guy out. No. And
Oh my
so
God, I
creating those
relate.
boundaries to be able to do things like that for yourself, so that you could stay ready and you don't have to waste time and just implement systems. All
Truly.
amazing. Love everything you've talked about, Emily. Give us one last final tip. Like, what's like the big tip that your clients, like, I think you might have touched on it already, but just the biggest aha moment.
Oh my God. So the biggest aha moment is that you do not have to do it all right now, right? What you are doing, number one, is enough and it will always be enough. And you do not have to add more to your plate. What you should focus on instead is figuring out how to actually make use your time wisely for what is currently on your plate. Don't add more. Don't worry about that. That's the hustle culture mentality seeping into you. You can ignore that, right? Instead, focus on what makes your 1%. That's what I always tell my coaching clients. What's your 1% today? What's that 1% push that you can just grow a little bit each and every day, and you will achieve your goals, boost your balance, boost your productivity, and all the rest that you want to do way quicker than you think, as long as you can just focus on that 1%.
I love it. That is fantastic. And it's so true. I love it. I love it. So thank you so much for joining us today, Emily. This has been absolutely fantastic. And we will catch you guys next time on the next episode of Overcome Yourself, the podcast. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks again for tuning in to Overcome Yourself, the podcast. Stay bold, stay grateful, and keep becoming your best you. For more information and resources from me, Nicole, head over to nicoletuxberry.com/resources. See you next time.